Welcome to Coffee Recipes by Baked, Brewed, Beautiful. I'm Cheyenne, and today you'll learn how to make an easy and moist coffee cake. Let's get started. To make this easy and moist coffee cake, there are 3 layers, which means you're going to need 3 different bowls. There's the cake layer, which I'm going to be putting in here, the streusel topping, which I'll put in here, and then your brown sugar and cinnamon mixture, which will go in here. So probably a small bowl for the brown sugar cinnamon, a medium to small bowl for the streusel topping, and then a medium to large bowl for the cake layer. Alright, so we're actually going to start with the streusel topping, and what you'll do is you'll put all of the ingredients in the bowl for the streusel topping except for the melted butter. And the reason we start with this layer is because we want the melted butter to cool slightly before we put it in with the rest of the ingredients. And I've actually already went ahead and melted my butter and it's already cooling, so it's ready to go. So in this bowl, there's 3/4 cup of flour, there's 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon and a pinch of salt, plus the addition of 5 tablespoons of melted butter. And I use unsalted butter, just so you can control the salt levels when you're baking. So I'm going to go ahead and add that melted butter now. And I do this in a saucepan because I don't have a microwave anymore. I replaced my microwave area with a coffee bar, which you can see behind me. So go ahead and give your streusel topping a good stir, and then we'll set it aside. You want to make sure it looks kind of clumpy. It should look like streusel, just like little balls of brown sugar and flour essentially, and then the melted butter helps it all come together. Okay, so that is our streusel topping, and I'm going to set that aside here for now. Then we're going to go ahead and go onto the cake layer and the brown sugar and cinnamon layer. So to do that, you'll put the brown sugar and the cinnamon in your small bowl. And so that layer actually just requires 1/3 cup of brown sugar. So I'm going to put that in here. And then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And you'll stir that up. I have this little baby spoon today. It's really cute. And just set that aside until we're ready for it. Now we're going to go on to the cake layer, which sits inside of here. So I actually already have the flour and the white sugar in this bowl already, just to kind of save time. And I'm going to go ahead and add the rest all in here now. I have my egg in here. Perfect. I have my milk, and I'm actually saving some of this milk for the icing, so I'm going to hold off and not putting it all in. I have my baking powder in here, and I also will add a little bit of salt. A pinch of salt, by the way, is 1/8 of a teaspoon, but we're actually doing 1/4 teaspoon. And then we're going to go ahead and mix it. And it's totally fine to use the streusel spatula because it's all getting mixed together eventually. So go ahead and stir that up. It will look a little dry at first, and that's fine. You're going to add the oil in a second. So let's add our oil next. And this is what makes it moist. This is, I know, no one likes that word, but that's what does it. It looks really greasy, but don't worry about it. It all balances out after it bakes, so don't be too concerned if it's looking too oily. While I'm mixing this, I want you to go ahead and heat up the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and go ahead and grease an 8x8 square pan. Get that ready. That's what we'll be using for this coffee cake. It's the perfect size for this cake, and it rises about this much, and it's so great. It serves about 4 to 6 people, I would say. So I have my cake batter, it's all in here, and we're actually going to go ahead and start spreading it in our pan. So I've already greased this pan. So I have my pan here, and I have my brown sugar cinnamon layer. I haven't forgot about it. And then I also have my streusel topping here. So you'll start with about, I want to say, a little less than a half of the batter on the bottom of the pan. And it's going to be really, really thin. And that's totally fine because the clumps of the streusel topping will fill it in, and so will the brown sugar layer. So I'm just spreading it out as best as I can to try to cover the bottom. But again, if there are holes, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It'll work out. Okay, then you're gonna go ahead and add this brown sugar cinnamon layer. And I'm just gonna sprinkle. You can use a spoon too. I wash my hands, so we're good. You can do the whole layer of brown sugar cinnamon, or you can do multiple layers, and then you're gonna put the rest of the batter on top here. And you'll spread it. Continue spreading it. This should look more filled in. There shouldn't be holes anymore. And you should get a nice spreading going on. And then we're going to do the streusel topping, which is really fun. And you will just sprinkle that over. And I actually do like to use my hands for this part, because it's easier to spread it all out. And you'll use all of it. And we're just going to spread it out there. And then you can add the more cinnamon sugar on top if you'd like. It's up to you. So this is actually ready to pop in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I already have a prepared cake that I made this morning, and it's ready to be glazed. So I'll show you how to make the glaze after I switch these out. So this is the finished cake. I took it out of the pan just so you could see it. It's beautiful. It turned out really well. And a fun fact, I didn't have 2 eggs today, so I was only able to use the egg for the first batch I did. I'm sorry, the second batch. And this one I used 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar mixed with 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And it really looks great. It looks like it rose properly, and I'm super excited about that. In case you don't have eggs or you have an egg allergy, that is an alternative you're welcome to try. So onto the glaze. I have my powdered sugar here, so you'll need 1 cup of powdered sugar, and then 3 tablespoons of milk. You can use half and half or whole milk. I'm using whole milk today. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And you'll just mix it all up. So I'm going to add the rest of my milk. And then our vanilla. It's really important to wait for your coffee cake to fully cool after it comes out of the oven. Because if you don't, you're going to end up with the icing or this glaze. It's just going to melt into it and it won't look as pretty. So I suggest waiting. That way you can see how there's a difference between the white glaze or the white icing and then the brown cake. It just looks a little bit cleaner. Alright, and that should get stirred until all those clumps are out. Oh, let me replace the cap here. There we go. And to do this final part, I suggest using a large spoon. Metal would be ideal. And if you have parchment paper, go ahead and put it underneath because it can get messy when you start to do the glazing process. But you'll grab a big spoonful and you'll start in the corner and just go diagonally across. That's what I found looks the prettiest. So let's go ahead. And it just looks so cool. Going across. I'll do a little bit more here because I have some more. Go to the edge. I'm trying to be clean. Keep my area clean. I usually don't. And I'll tip this up in a second so you can see what it looks like with the glaze. So I just did a little bit of glaze here and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So that is how you make an easy and moist coffee cake. I do have a recipe card and a grocery store checklist, which includes all of the items you need and all of the tools you'll need to make this recipe. You can find that down below. And then I highly recommend drinking a nice hot cup of coffee with your coffee cake. Thanks so much for tuning in and happy brewing!